I don't think money talks. Okay, you can't speak unless you have money. Well, I say that money has 30 work as a woman approaching 30 who unfortunately has not had a normal life before, who has every reason to commit suicide and mental but chooses not to. I unfortunately cannot relate to my peers who are making, on average, £3,758.75 per month according to my Google search. And that comes to, and that's based on an average salary of £45,105. I've never seen anything more than £5,000 in my time, so that's £45,000 my business. I have worked, and it's good to note that very clear, albeit very short lived, permanent employment, very low paid to no paid, 0 hours contract on the website, system contract as well as doing that all of those I filled out for another one. Not even paid, even in the 0 hours contract, so just completely not booked about, literally mistreated in the worst possible ways, discriminated over my race, over my appearance, over characters, as a woman approaching 24 in India, who's lived in her whole life, isn't white, just is British, whether you like it or not. His parents didn't work because of their disabilities and being so very optimist. He didn't have any familial support, no family, no friends, no partner, no pets, no children, no allies, nothing, no one, zero, absolutely nothing. Admittedly, completely allowed to be with you with operating and temporary accommodation. Not killing myself or anyone else, but let me tell you, there is no quality of life there in this country. You are seen as a total, I mean, I've been told things like scam, tramp, dog, mess, state, all sorts of things, not just because of how I look, but my financial situation. I've got 21-year-olds and 25-year-olds earning more than me. I say I've got, as in like, I mean, we've got 21-year-old, 18-year-olds, never mind just 18-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 25-year-olds, many 25-year-olds, you know, have full-time incomes, their own homes, cars, businesses, some are even married with children. So in terms of not just my peers, but in terms of people much younger than me, I honestly don't know how to be happy for others, and I cannot even relate to knowing what it's like to have a salary or paycheck, or I don't even know what annual leave must be like. I've never been able to book annual leave because I've never had a job that pays an annual salary. Is there anyone else out there who can relate to these horrible thoughts and feelings of inadequacy? Despair, really. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm tried my utmost to find a job, to keep a job, to even build a job, but I've been incredibly unsuccessful. And it's very, very, very easy for those who have had to be like, well, if you really wanted a job, you'd have a job by now, or you're just making excuses, or you're lazy, or you don't want to work, or you want to see benefits. And that just is not the case. Ask any chronically ill, chronically diseased, marginalised person, you will begin to understand that, like, the landlord of this temporary accommodation had the audacity to say to me because of some maintenance work, oh, I don't get paid for this, blah, 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 blah. Nothing to do with me, by the way, none of my business. Why are you telling me you don't get paid? I don't get paid for living. I might receive a little bit of DWP encouragement, but that isn't necessarily sustainable for the lifestyle that I want and that I deserve and that I've worked hard for previously. I don't have a pension set up. I don't have any insurance. I don't even have my provisional license or my medical short-term license because the bastards at the DVLA have made it impossible to have my medical license renewed. They've sent me form after form after form. I've gone to the doctor and back. The doctor hasn't referred me to a sleep clinic yet. So I am still waiting. Over 2 years since my last medical short-term license that I had, that I used, I don't have a medical short-term license, and therefore I don't have that as a form of ID either. I don't have savings. I don't have any investments. I don't have any people giving me any sort of handouts other than, of course, the DWP. But frankly, I'm entitled to that money for existence, survival. Um, but all of these people who have never had to go down the benefits route, who have always had some sort of steady income, whether it's Saturday jobs from when they're about 16 years old to, uh, by the age of 20 on their degree, they're graduates, they've got a full-time salary, they might have moved out of home, they've got a partner, they've got the partner helping them financially as well, or, you're both financially stable enough to just get by. What you have to realise is that everybody is given a silver spoon in this life. Not everybody's parents work, not everybody's parents are able-bodied, not everybody's parents have given them the tools needed to survive in this life. My parents certainly didn't. I wasn't even aware how money was coming into the household when I was growing up. They were never transparent about anything. And today, in this situation I'm in, obviously having to rely completely on DWP, it looks on paper as though I've done nothing, but in reality, even to this very year, even with all the police involvement and other harrowing experiences, I've continued to actively look for work. I've attended interviews, mostly online, but last year I even attended interviews in person whilst I was an excluded student from university. So the point I'm trying to make is, do not make judgments about unemployed people who are on benefits or people who have a much, 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 much lower monthly income or annual income than you. You have no idea what they've gone through. You have no idea about the efforts they've put in. Just because they don't have a paid formal employment where money is coming comfortably into their account, it doesn't mean that they don't work or that they don't contribute. Not everybody has mummy and daddy providing them money from the bank of mum and dad. Not everybody has a partner. Not everybody has grandparents giving money. Not everybody has, this sort of backup plan, the safety net. I certainly do. I may be Asian, but I don't have grandparents. I don't have aunties and uncles. I don't have cousins. None of my half siblings ever supported me. My parents never worked. So what the fuck do you expect me to do? Just magic money from a tree? I don't think so. Let me tell you, even in my low income state, I volunteered. I donated to charities. I campaigned for others who are in marginalised situations. I forgot to also mention I've worked briefly as a schools assistant as well, so invigilating SEN school assistant. So again, all very low paid, unsteady, unstable, 0 hours contract sort of day-to-day roles. Nothing has ever been permanent, nothing has ever been stable. But the point I'm trying to make is, don't look at me as someone on income from the DWP as someone who has just never worked, because I have. And guess what? I want to work. And ask any of the people who I've been involved with in these employment programs. They can tell you how very hard I work with my CVs, with my cover letters, my with my interview prep, with my research, with my job search. No one out there that I know has sent off as many applications as I have, has done as much research into interviews and looking for work as I have. Just because I'm not in work right now, it doesn't mean I won't have work. Just because I'm not in work right now doesn't mean I won't have work. And just because I'm not in work right now, it doesn't mean that I'm sat on my feet. I live in constant, I exist in constant fear. Every time I go outside, 9 times out of 10, the conversations I overhear are about people at work. Oh, I've just come back from work. Oh, I'm going to work. Oh, I'm earning this much this month. Oh, I'm booking my summer holiday. I'm going to say, oh, I've just booked my holiday. Blah, 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 blah. But everything centres around young people, or even middle-aged people and elderly people talking about their incomes, about their jobs, about their savings, about their investments, about their insurance, about other financial matters that I cannot relate to. Because one, I wasn't born into a family who spoke about money. Two, I've never had a salaried job, so I cannot relate to having a paycheck at the end of each month. I cannot relate to being able to budget. I cannot relate to, like I've just mentioned, annual leave. You have no idea how difficult. I'm not speaking on behalf of everyone on benefits, because as there are negative stereotypes, and I have seen with my own eyes, there are people on benefits such as PIP and Universal Credit and even Employment and Support Allowance, which is known as a legacy benefit, who are misusing that money, who do not need that money, and who are getting away with fraudulent use of that money. I do not fall into that category. And so many other people who are on benefits genuinely need the money, and they do not fall into the category of fraudulent behaviour. So stop putting these labels on everyone. Yes, there are the minority, I would say minority because it is a minority, who misuse the money from the DWP. The majority of us, in my opinion, from what I've researched, use that money for daily living needs. A lot of people, even on benefits, have the provision of family and friends and partners and support networks and other income. I am someone in the category where I don't have savings, I don't have family, friends, partner, investments. I think there's something called bonds as well. In all honesty, I don't actually know what that means. And I also need to mention very transparently, I only had one source of income from the DWP since my very first application to claim, and it's not an easy process. And I actually came off a benefit where I was told that I am not capable of work, but I argued against it and said, no, I am capable of work. So I came off that benefit and then was not able to go back onto it after I left the work, which made things very difficult. I've been in situations where I've literally not been able to go to a shop and buy a bottle of milk or a jar of milk or a carton of milk or whatever you want to call it, because I've not had enough money in my account. I've even gone to Parliament in London in March of, or was it January of 2020? No, it was March of 2023. I went to speak to a Labour MP along with a group of young women about the cost of living crisis. This was during the time that Rishi Sunak was the Prime Minister. And very briefly, I burst into tears and I spoke about how difficult it is to be a single disabled adult woman on a single income in a cost of living crisis with insufficient means, having rent to pay, having utility bills to pay, having groceries to buy. It's not been easy. Do not assume that everybody who is on benefits is living a lavish lifestyle and is coping and doesn't have to work because if anything, some of us have to work 1,000 times harder than those who are in steady formal employment, because at least with those people, that category of people, you have a way to steadily budget. You know how much you're going to earn on a certain day. You can budget properly. You can do that, yes, with benefits, but you have to do that in such a limited way. There's not really any room, from my experience, as a single childless woman. Oh, by the way, there's also the differences where obviously people with children will get more money, people with partners will get more money. If you're a single woman, you literally get treated like you have no value. So you don't actually get that much money, because apparently if you don't have a partner and you don't have a child, apparently you're not that important. So the DWP gives you the very, very, very bare minimum, which is my experience. And I'm not sorry to be unpartnered and childless. I don't think there's anything sinful in that. But you don't get a lot of money, let me just put it that way. Still, I've always acted, and anybody who knows me knows this, I've always acted as though I'm employed, as though I'm coping, as though I'm contributing. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't vape, I don't take drugs, I don't eat rubbish food, I don't mess around. So for goodness sake, this is a message to all those cretins, hypocrites, wrongdoers, unqualified, uneducated, uncultured people out there who make these nasty assumptions that everyone on benefits is a fraud, that everyone on benefits is a slob, that everybody on benefits is cheating the system, or whatever it is that you say. Yes, I have seen with my own eyes, to my frustration, people who do weed and take injections into their bodies that are essentially illegal substances. They go to beer gardens, they go on holidays, they wear designer clothes. I don't think I've ever owned a designer clothing item in my life. I do not wear designer clothes. I might have bought some branded items when I was a student, but I've never bought designer clothes. Even when I was in work, I think the only thing I invested most of my money into was the driving lessons. And the driving lessons were harrowing because I had racist, aggressive witches instead of professional driving instructors. So any money that I invested into things to try and better myself, driving wasn't just a selfish endeavour. It was something that I thought would make me more employable, would allow me to help other people. Even in the care job, I would have been able to do so much more had I had a car. But because I don't have a car, I was very limited in some of the jobs that I was able to do. Still don't drive, still don't have a licence, still don't have a vehicle. Approaching 30, no family, no friends, no partner, no savings, no investment, no insurance, no life insurance, no health insurance, no home insurance, nothing. No car insurance. You cannot imagine how harrowing it is to see everyone else in your peer group living their best life, thriving in their prime, whilst you're literally rotting away in a temporary accommodation as a homeless person and still being bullied by random bastards outside, including white male police officers, white female police officers, black people, Asian people, mixed race people, people of all ethnicities and ages, making horrible comments towards your appearance when all you are doing is going out to run errands as a low-income, barely paid, disabled adult who is simply trying to exist. Let me reiterate once again, it's a Friday night. My peers are, we are approaching the end of a month, so I assume it's payday today. I could be wrong, but I assume, with this being the last Friday of the month, that it's payday. Correct me if I'm wrong. I have never had a payday, not a proper one, in my life. There was obviously the days from McDonald's where I would get even that was a 0 hours. So I believe I was paid weekly, as far as I remember. But I could barely budget from that. The majority of the money was taxed. The majority of the money was, I felt like, used on just having to buy food anyway for survival, or getting the bus. Yet there are people coming into and I am going to say this as an ethnic minority, there are immigrants, illegal immigrants coming into this country, or migrants I should say, who are completely cheating the system. And I mean even women who are living in homeless hostels, they are cheating the system. They are lying their way through the system.
They have money, they have parents, they have partners, they have family, they have friends who are supporting them, who have money, they have their own money, and yet they're still taking up space in places where genuinely marginalised and vulnerable women need that place, need that space, but they are denied it because these lazy, unbothered, selfish migrants are taking up space. There's a reason why some of the decent MPs out there are arguing against illegal migration and excessive migration, because it is impacting the people born here who genuinely need the help and who genuinely deserve the help. The country is in a mess, but it doesn't affect the ones who are already wealthy. It doesn't affect the ones who have the safety nets and the security and the stability. It doesn't affect those who don't really understand what hardship is. It affects people like me. I might not be white, but I'm British. I've worked here, I've volunteered here, I've studied here, I've contributed here, I've followed the laws of the land here. Yet here I am, excluded, impoverished, struggling to find a decent single-person ground floor flat because, one, it's unaffordable, two, there seems to be zero availability, and three, I'm not getting any social care support, I'm not getting any safeguarding support, I'm not getting any financial support other than DWP income. Do not make assumptions about people on benefits. Not everyone is in the same category, not everyone is a fraud, not everyone has multiple streams of income. I am trying my absolute best every single day, and there is evidence of this, there is proof of this, there is financial proof of this, there is email proof of this, there is attendance proof of this, there is so much proof of this. I don't even need to be voicing this. There are other people who will speak on my behalf because they know, because they've seen, because they have witnessed my efforts. I've just been incredibly unfortunate, and I have been wrongly excluded from places such as universities for simply speaking up where I have been violated. I never thought that I would end up homeless in 2025, impoverished in 2025, still unemployed in 2025, and this distressed in 2025, but this is the reality. And my message is simply, on behalf of all of the people who are also suffering beyond their control and through no fault of their own, please stop putting all of us into the same category and boat, and please stop mistreating people because you assume that they're not contributing, because you assume that they are here illegally, because you assume that they must just be happy to live off. But I'm not happy to be in this situation. The only reason I accept and claim the benefits is because otherwise I would have absolutely no income to live on. And I need that for food, for shelter, for clothing, for essentials. Not luxuries, for essentials. And I've budgeted, and let me tell you, if I didn't ration things in the ways that I do, then I'd be absolutely screwed. But fortunately, I am disciplined enough to, again, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't vape. I don't take drugs, I don't wear designer clothing, I don't go on holidays. Even if I get the bus, I only do so if I absolutely need to get it, for example, for hospital appointments, or if I need to go into a different town. I don't feel like I can necessarily pursue my hobbies or like creative interests a lot, because and I invest in things like, obviously, like my phone, internet, devices, food, cleaning products, shoes, obviously, to be able to walk. I don't have like a budget in front of me, so I'm just saying this off the top of my head. Stationery and just like things that sort of keep me going day to day. But please stop assuming that people on benefits go on holidays all the time or drive fancy cars or have lots of children, because I certainly don't fit into that category, and it's really frustrating and upsetting and patronising when you hear these conversations and arguments by uncultured, uneducated, inexperienced people saying that, oh, all these people on benefits, that they don't need it, they're too lazy to work, blah, blah, blah. I have a body covered in skin disease. My body aches right now, even as I'm sat down with fibromyalgia, with prurigo nodularis. And I do also suffer from severe depression and anxiety and PTSD. A lot of people will falsely claim that they have those things, and yet you'll see those same people in like bars and restaurants and pubs every weekend, if not every day. And they're just using money so carefreely, they're not even bothered. There's people literally who are like admitting to using this money on things. They don't even have any shame. What else do I spend it on? Yeah, just I don't have a sense of smell. That's another disability, but again, the DWP doesn't care about that. There are conditions that haven't even been diagnosed yet because, like I said, I'm waiting for referrals. And the council, who provided me with this space, they don't care. They do not care. Like I said, I had this dangerous and horrible interaction with the landlord recently. None of my business that he doesn't get paid for repairs, but he made me feel extremely uncomfortable. He screamed at me over the phone, sent over people who I wasn't to know that was his staff. And obviously I come back from doing my grocery shopping as a vulnerable person, and these random men come here. Obviously I'm going to feel alarmed because I don't know who they are. They came, they went again, they came back. I came back to the place that I thought, I'd obviously locked, and things had moved and they'd overflown the toilet, and other nightmares like this happen. I don't have the ability to get things like security cameras or noise monitoring equipment or anything like that. So again, you need to understand it's very, very, very easy for people who have working parents who have, been able to easily get their A-levels and degrees and full-time salaried jobs. Good for you, congratulations, that's amazing for you. But please do not make assumptions about all people on benefits as though we are all in the same category, because we are not. And to reiterate, not all benefit claimants are in partnerships or parents or going on holidays or driving or taking weed or doing any of these horrible activities. We're not. And I will continue saying this on repeat, as I have been doing for the last many months, even years. And I've even blogged about it, and I've vlogged about it, and I've spoken and I've campaigned about it, and I've even gone to Parliament, which is not an everyday thing that you get offered, but through an organisation in London. I went to Parliament and I spoke to a Labour MP, and I told them, along with a group of young women, some of whom were parents, some of whom were partnered. Well, actually, all the other women were partnered. Some of them had babies. One of them brought her daughter into the Parliament room, and everyone's situation is different. And also you have to understand that we're not all from the south of England. There are disparities still between the north and the south. There are also inner disparities which aren't often talked about. There's disparities between ethnicities, there's disparities between people's different health conditions. There's a lot of disparities between myself and, say, the average 30-odd-year-old person. Just stop making assumptions. Stop making people feel even worse about themselves than they already do. Just stop.